Welcome to The Evidence Locker, a podcast where we dive into true crime cases from around the world, separating fact from fiction, rumor from reality, and always keeping the focus on justice for the victims. I'm your host, Shay. Tonight, we descend into the heart of Vatican City, not as tourists, but as seekers of truth. Imagine yourself in Rome, June 1983. The sun blazes, the marble pillars of Vatican City glow, walls towering over the ancient city like sentinels. There's laughter, music, the scent of espresso, sandals scuffing cobblestones. Somewhere behind fortified gates lives a family at the center of the world's tiniest country, wrapped in the legacy of the Pope and the mysteries of the Church. They are the Orlandis, and on this day, their lives will change forever. You may think of the Vatican as a place of holiness, ritual, faith, but our story tonight peels back this veneer, exposing a shadowy world where the innocent can disappear and where the search for a missing girl transforms into a public storm, a global obsession, and a decades-long pursuit for answers. So close your eyes, let the sound of the flute drift around the room, and step with me through the doors of an unresolved mystery. This is not just any cold case. It is the disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi, the Vatican girl, one of history's most confounding riddles. Wednesday, June 22nd, 1983. The Orlandi family's day begins in routine fashion behind Vatican City's tall walls. 15-year-old Emanuela, the daughter of Ercole Orlandi, a lay employee for the papal household, rises, eats breakfast, and readies for her day. She's a quiet, bright girl known for her love of music, particularly the flute. But today, she's late for her lesson. She asks her older brother, Pietro, for a ride. He's busy. She says goodbye, steps into the ruthless Roman heat, and walks out of Vatican City toward St. Apollinare, the music school she's attended so many times before. At her lesson, her teacher notices something isn't right. Emanuela is distracted, not her usual self. She leaves early, calls a friend, and says she's excited about an upcoming concert. But she's distracted by a strange opportunity. A job offer from a man in a green BMW advertising for Avon Cosmetics. She mentions this to her classmate, a detail that will return again and again in later eyewitness reports. Leaving the school at 6:50 p.m., Emanuela boards a city bus, exchanging words with a red-haired woman. Witnesses see her outside the Senate building. She appears nervous, but not in outright distress. By nightfall, she still isn't home, and the Orlandis know something is wrong. Rome in the 1980s is alive but anxious, a city of political intrigue, secret societies, mafia alliances. The Orlandis immediately call the police, but the authorities brush it aside as teenage rebellion, a runaway fleeing a strict home. But the Orlandis know their daughter, her routines, her fears. The city shifts. The next day, the family posts Emanuela's photo all over Rome. The phone rings. A teenager named Pierluigi claims to have seen a girl selling Avon near Campo dei Fiori, going by Barbara. Another, Mario, says he met a similar girl at his bar by Ponte Vittorio, a detail that fits Emanuela's older sister's pending wedding. The city pulses with rumor and uncertainty. Some tips are pranks, some are plausible, most are dead ends, but they reveal a city gripped by uncertainty and fear. Soon, a new voice enters the fray, an anonymous man with an American accent, later dubbed El Americano. He doesn't offer idle tips. He calls with chilling purpose, demanding action. The Orlandis begin to realize that Emanuela's disappearance is not the story of a teenage runaway. It's about to become a matter of international intrigue. It is here, at the edge of night, that Emanuela Orlandi vanishes, not from her family alone, but from the world. And so begins the mystery that has haunted Italy, the Vatican, and investigators for more than 40 years. It's early July 1983. The telephone rings. The Orlandi family answers to a chilling demand. Release Mehmet Ali Ajka, and you get your daughter back. Ajka is famous, the Turkish terrorist imprisoned for his 1981 assassination attempt against Pope John Paul II. The caller, dubbed El Americano for his accent, claims Emanuela is a bargaining chip, a pawn in a global high-stakes game. The Vatican is stunned. The Pope himself, during the Angelus prayer, appeals for her safe return, announcing the hypothesis of kidnapping as official. Rome holds its breath. The supposed kidnappers send physical proof: photocopied music school ID, sheet music, a handwritten note allegedly by Emanuela herself, left in a wastebasket near the Italian parliament. These evidence pieces are worrisome, but investigators have doubts. The music school archives, under Vatican jurisdiction, had the same materials. No one is sure if these are genuine or meticulously staged manipulation. During the following weeks, more calls come in. The claims multiply, but few are credible. Theories advance. Could this be a case of terrorism? A plot by political extremists seeking to leverage the Vatican's public image and force Rome to submit to their demand? Yet, despite the gravity, the supposed link to Ajka never materializes. No exchange takes place. The authorities stall. The Vatican stays silent, and the public grows desperate. Was Emanuela genuinely taken by terrorists? Was the kidnapping merely a ruse to exploit a moment of vulnerability in Vatican politics? As months pass, El Americano ceases contact, leaving confusion, anger, and wounds that will never heal. Rome remains haunted, and the Vatican, often accused of stonewalling, stands at the center of spiraling rumors and conspiracy theories. Amid political intrigue and public outcry, another theory emerges from the shadows: that Emanuela's disappearance was a mafia operation. Rome's criminal underworld in the 1980s is marked by the rise of La Banda della Maliana, a powerful mob group entwined with the darkest reaches of Vatican finance and Italian politics. Antonio Mancini, a member of the gang, claims that Emanuela's kidnapping was just one in a series of assaults against the Vatican. According to him, it aimed to force the restitution of large sums lent by the gang to the Vatican Bank. The finger is pointed at Enrico De Pedis, a feared mob boss and alleged kidnapper. De Pedis has close ties to Monsignor Piero Vigari, rector at Saint Apollinaire, where Emanuela attended classes. In 2005, an anonymous tip says De Pedis' grave contains evidence. The authorities opened the grave in 2012, searching for Emanuela's remains or clues. Only De Pedis' body is found, but rumors circulate that he confessed his involvement to former lovers, that witnesses saw him near the music school, and that his presence in Vatican territory was evidence of collusion. Sabrina Menardi, De Pettis' girlfriend, claims the mobster orchestrated Emanuela's abduction, that she was kept prisoner in affluent circles with ties to clergy. Her testimony, though controversial and at times contradictory, adds fuel to the fire. Emanuela was taken because the Vatican owed money to De Pettis. They used her as leverage. Throughout the investigation, connections between organized crime, Vatican finances, and high-profile figures like Archbishop Paul Marcinkus develop into a web of suspicion. Did a financial scandal become deadly? Did mafia networks penetrate the Sacred Heart of Catholic Rome, destroying a girl's life to collect on an illegal debt? Though this theory remains unproven, it gives voice to the chaos lurking behind seemingly impenetrable walls. The Vatican is, at its core, a world of secrets. As investigators dig deeper, it becomes clear that the Church may hold the answers no one else can find. The Orlandis never stopped pressing the Vatican for information. For years, rumors swirled about a secret file, a historical reconstruction of Emanuela's disappearance. Former papal secretary George Ganswin is alleged to have compiled documents tracking the mystery from day one. In 2024, Chief Prosecutor Alessandro Didi finally admits, yes, the dossier exists, and the Vatican has it. The contents of the file remain confidential. For decades, the Vatican publicly denied keeping any record. Laura Scrow, the Orlandi family's lawyer, accuses the Church of stonewalling, stating, "For years, the Vatican denied any documentation whatsoever." This raises serious questions about who safeguarded this dossier and why it remained hidden. What might be inside? Is it evidence of a cover-up, implicating high-ranking officials in a crime? Or is it the accumulated works of decades of failed investigation, bureaucratic inertia, and hushed-up scandals? Journalist Emiliano Fittipaldi's claim adds a chilling note. He says he obtained, through the Vatileaks scandal, an expense report detailing substantial sums spent by Vatican officials to transfer and hide Emanuela, including her alleged movement to a women's hostel in London over a period of 14 years. The document, allegedly prepared by Cardinal Antonetti for Monsignors Giovanni Battista Re and Jean-Louis Thoran, traces everything from rent to medical care. In effect, it purports that the Vatican protected her, kept her alive and hidden, and handled her eventual burial. Unsurprisingly, Church authorities dismiss the document as a forgery. False and ridiculous, they say, refusing further comment. Yet, the details are compelling, the circumstances plausible. If true, does it mean the Vatican kidnapped one of its own? For reasons financial, sexual, or political? Did it offer sanctuary only to silence her voice? Other disturbing theories also arise from within Vatican precincts. Pino Nicotri, a biographer of the case, alleges ritual sexual abuse by priests, that the disappearance was internal and orchestrated, and that subsequent tips were purposeful misdirections. In turn, the Vatican has rarely cooperated with Italian magistrates. Legal requests for information have been repeatedly denied, and key cardinals and officials have avoided testimony. Criticism grows. Why has the Vatican not pursued clarity? What do they gain by maintaining silence? As of late 2024, the existence of the secret dossier is finally confirmed, but whether full transparency will ever be achieved, or whether the document will merely add new layers to old mysteries, remains to be seen. If the mafia and Vatican politics don't have the answers, some investigators cast their gaze even wider, to international espionage and Cold War intrigue. The so-called Orlandi-Aja connection emerges from the ransom demands. Was Emanuela's kidnapping a terrorist operation, leveraging the Pope's concern for political gain? Turkish gunman Mehmet Ali Aja, in prison for shooting John Paul II, claims Bulgarian agents from the Grey Wolves, a right-wing faction with ties to organized crime, carried out the abduction. Aja repeats his claims for years, suggesting not only a Vatican mafia plot, but the involvement of the KGB, Soviet interests, and even Muslim communities abroad. Other versions say Orlandi may have been integrated into a Muslim community in Paris, or hidden in a London convent, a twist strengthened by reports of Vatican expenditures on secret accommodations. Spy rings proliferate in Italy at this time. The Vatican holds immense sway over European political alliances, and international intelligence services are keen to penetrate its secrets. Could Emanuela have become a pawn in a power struggle between the Italian state, the church, and foreign actors? Calls for hostage swaps, coded messages to news agencies, and the Italian Secret Service's involvement all reflect this world of shadows. Criminal lawyer Gennaro Egidio, experienced in international crimes, is brought in to handle all calls from the kidnappers, yet never receives undeniable proof of Emanuela's captivity. Frustration mounts. Ultimately, though captivating, the political pawn and espionage theories rest on slim evidence. No intelligence service confesses involvement, and the most tangible links return, again and again, to Vatican insiders. As the years crawl on, each theory collapses under the weight of ambiguous phone calls and misplaced trust, each except for one. Then comes an allegation that shakes faith at its very foundations, the claim that the disappearance was rooted in sexual abuse, and perhaps even murder. Father Gabriel Amorth, Vatican exorcist and spiritual advisor, says in public, Orlandi was kidnapped by Vatican police for sex parties. She was subsequently murdered. He implicates Vatican officials and, cryptically, a foreign embassy. Later, a childhood friend of Emanuela recounts how, mere weeks before she vanished, Emanuela told her she'd been sexually assaulted in the Vatican gardens by a man close to the Pope. These claims are later corroborated by journalist Tommaso Nelli, who interviews the friend for his book, Atto di Dolore. The theories gained new traction in 2022 when Netflix's documentary, Vatican Girl, airs worldwide. The docuseries exposes a network of abuse allegations, secret gatherings, and unsolved cases uniting Emanuela Orlandi and another missing teenager, Mirella Gregori. Congregations, priests, and even high-ranking officials are suddenly cast as suspects. The church's rigid silence appears damning. But with these accusations come doubts. Witnesses change stories, timelines don't always match, and legal records lack decisive proof. Yet, for thousands watching, the pattern is unmistakable. Sex abuse in the Vatican, protected and perpetuated by an institution unwilling to expose its sins. The legacy of these claims remains. Was Emanuela silenced for what she knew? Did the Vatican's desire to protect itself outweigh its responsibility to its own? The twists keep coming. In 2023 and 2024, two revelations hit Italian media and further muddled the Orlandi mystery. First, Pietro Orlandi, Emanuela's unyielding brother, appears on the television show Verissimo with a document, the so-called London Letter, supposedly written by Cardinal Ugo Belletti in 1993. The letter allegedly asks British authorities for assistance with a totally unexpected and undesired problem involving Emanuela, ensure that she remains alive and in good health. The letter hints that Orlandi lived in London, was pregnant, and required an abortion. The authenticity of the letter remains unproven, but for Pietro, its plausibility is enough to demand official investigation. If accurate, the Vatican's expense report and the London letter provide crucial convergence. Was Emanuela exiled to another country, supported and hidden by the Church, her fate dictated by men with power beyond the law? Meanwhile, in summer 2023, the Vatican releases a portion of its dossier to magistrates and focuses blame on a new suspect, Emanuela's maternal uncle, Mario Meneguzzi. The documents reference sexual harassment of Emanuela's elder sister, Natalina, suggesting Meneguzzi may have abused Emanuela as well. Yet, at a press conference, Pietro is furious. Why focus on our uncle when that case was closed 40 years ago? Natalina confirms that Meneguzzi tried to pursue her for a month, but insists he was out of town when Emanuela disappeared. The family feels the Vatican is scapegoating, shifting the narrative to avoid institutional responsibility. Are these all the records? If so, they are old, irrelevant news. What are the Vatican and Rome prosecutor ignoring? The Orlandi family continues to fear that crucial evidence left inside the Vatican's secret archive won't be released, and that new leads are stifled or obstructed. Their struggle is not only for Emanuela, but for justice itself. All these new twists swirl. The public watches in frustration. Was the uncle blamed as a distraction? Was the London thread buried to prevent scandal? No one truly knows. The investigation is a labyrinth like the Vatican itself, shifting focus with every new generation. Let's travel through decades of inquiry. 1983, Emanuela disappears. Initial response is slow, all but dismissed. 1983 to 1984. Ransom calls for Aja's release dominate headlines. 1997. First investigation is dismissed due to lack of evidence. 2005 to 2012. De Pettis' tomb exhumed on anonymous tip. No new clues. 2018. Bone fragments discovered in Vatican embassy are ancient. 2019. 2 Teutonic cemetery tombs opened after tip-off. No trace of Emanuela. 2020. Vatican closes short investigation with no resolution. 2022. Netflix docuseries renews global interest. Public protests intensify. January 2023. Pope Francis orders the Vatican to reopen its files. Head prosecutor Alessandro Didi takes the case. Summer 2023. Italian Senate launches a parliamentary commission, sharing findings with Rome prosecutors. June 2023. Vatican hands dossier to Rome authorities. Media scrutinize and allege the uncle connection. Late 2024. Vatican finally admits the confidential dossier exists, cracking the wall of denial that stood for 40 years. The records are now jointly under investigation by Vatican and Italian officials, with the family constantly pushing for openness and accountability. Yet, with every milestone comes disappointment. Decades spent chasing whispers, digging up bones, reading coded letters, each effort raises more questions than answers. The dossier's confirmation is undeniably a turning point, but what it contains, and whether it will ever be released to the public, hangs heavily in the air. To truly understand this tragedy, we must listen to the voices that have endured the pain. Pietro Orlandi, brother, crusader, relentless seeker of truth. Through decades, he marches, protests, writes letters, and sits silently at the Vatican's gates. He believes the last three popes, John Paul II, Benedict XVI, and Pope Francis, know more than they've admitted. His words cut through official veil and public cynicism. Until I find her remains, I will always hope to be able to find her again. At every anniversary, Pietro holds vigil, calling the world's attention, refusing to let his sister become a statistic. His mother, Maria Pezzano, remains in Vatican City, her home heavy with loss. Though closeted behind the walls of power, she grieves with infinite patience. The sound of the Angelus, once a comfort, now reminds her that faith without truth is only half the story. Lawyer Laura Scrow, steadfast, says, public acknowledgement of the dossier is a critical step, but there must be real transparency, not just gestures or scapegoats. In rallies, social media campaigns, and petitions, the Orlandi family is joined by thousands who refuse to give up. Their fight is not a mere demand for answers. It's an insistence that institutions must answer for pain, secrets, and broken lives. And so, Emanuela's story manifests not only in the halls of power, in the whispers of Rome's streets, but in the resilience of a family refusing to let the world forget. In the end, we're left not with closure, but with questions. What happened to Emanuela Orlandi? Was she the victim of a church entangled in abuse and cover-up, a pawn traded by terrorist hands, an erased witness in the mafia's wheeling and dealing, or a girl spirited away, kept alive in exile by the very forces sworn to protect her? Each theory is a thread in the tapestry the Vatican has spent decades weaving. Now, with the revelation of a secret dossier, we stand on the knife edge between hope and despair. Will its pages tell of redemption, guilt, or merely more silence? Will the truth finally cut through ceremony and secrecy, or will history write another chapter of indifference?